One day we who work with Christian Womanhood asked for an appointment with Elaine Colston, and we just made her an honorary consultant. She says she's an honorary one, and I guess maybe she is, but we call her honorary. You know her. She writes Going and Glowing in Christian Womanhood, and I have to tell you that she's just as sharp as that column sounds. Besides that, we even like her a whole lot. She's unusual in that she's so smart and yet doesn't make us feel dumb. We were discussing the college girls, and I asked her a question. I said, Elaine, can't the girls kind of set the tone of the school and making it easier for the guys to be the leaders? And she quickly replied, oh, of course, just as a woman sets the atmosphere of the home. That started me thinking. There are men who are such natural-born leaders that they're going to lead no matter what. However, most young men need a conducive atmosphere in which to become the leaders they were meant to be. And then I began making a study on atmosphere. Chris Matthews, a staff member at Hyles-Anderson College, hurriedly looked up the word in the dictionary, atmosphere, and what she found really provided me with food for thought. I hope you'll use it for food for the heart. One thing it said was, atmosphere is air surrounding the earth. Girls and women can become the atmosphere which is life-giving support to a leader, or a bus captain, preacher, teacher, dad, or husband. The earth could not continue in existence without the atmosphere, and we're just that important to every situation and person with whom we interact. Why don't you just watch a good woman walk into a restaurant? Perhaps one in which even a rowdy party is taking place. And check the change in atmosphere as she moves in the beauty of the Lord. I don't say it'll happen every time, but you know it does happen. Next time you go to a shopping mall, just sit and study people a while. That's kind of fun. A lot of times you get to witness to somebody and really lead somebody to the Lord. You just happen to sit in those round circular seats they have, padded seats in some of these beautiful new shopping centers, and somebody will sit down and start talking to you. It gives you a perfect opportunity to tell them about Jesus. But just watch people for a while. Watch a gum-chewing, jeans-wearing, hip-swinging girl meet a group of friends. And just note the effect she has on them. Now look, Psalm 37:23 says, the steps of a good man or a woman are ordered by the Lord, and those steps are so designed by Him to influence every person within the reach of the atmosphere she sets. Are you setting a good or bad atmosphere by your sweet or sour spirit? Do people associate these words with the aura that surrounds you? Are these the words that people think of and just naturally say when they think of you? Cheer, happiness, gladness, beauty, strength, fun, excitement, love, purity, peace, joy, gentleness, kindness, and goodness? Do they associate those with you? Read Galatians 5:22 and 23. Are you a wounded spirit? But a wounded spirit who can bear? Proverbs 18:14. Or are you someone who could be associated with blackness and gossip? The words of a talebearer are as wounds that go down into the innermost parts. Proverbs 18:8. Hatred, strife, wrath. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding. Proverbs 14:29. Nagging, envy, heaviness. All this is a wounded spirit. Heaviness in the heart of a man maketh it stoop, but a good word maketh it glad. I think of a man becoming stooped just as you start saying things to him. Have you ever seen your husband just, his shoulders just kind of fall? And maybe he's a leader and wants to be a leader and he's learning to be a leader, but you know those times when you say, are you sure the plane leaves at 4:23? And he says, yes, yeah, I checked. It leaves at 4:23. And pretty soon you say, would you just go check again if that plane leaves at 4:23 or not? And he says, I know it does. And pretty soon he begins to wonder himself and idles over to the counter and finds out again. But he goes in sort of a stooped manner. You know the nitpicking that brings stooping to people? You can nitpick with your children or nitpick with your friends until they become stooped around you because you have a wounded spirit. Or when you say, you didn't know that? I thought I told you that the other day. Or how could you have not known it? Didn't you hear it announced in church? The preacher made the announcement. Well, obviously, he didn't, or your friend didn't hear him when he was in church, or they wouldn't know it. And so use those kinds of words that, they just the person becomes stooped. You say, well, aren't you supposed to say the truth? Like your husband comes out and says, hey, you like this tie, honey? And you go, well, it could be better. And you see, that kind of, maybe they just kind of spring it out and we're kind of in a good mood and you see the shoulders going down, stooped, because of the wounded spirit. And he says, well, I bought it myself. And you say, well, maybe I could return it for you. Oh, that nitpicking. You say, well, didn't he want the truth? Probably not. You say, well, what can I do about it? What if it was just terrible? Well, what's that going to hurt except your false pride if it is terrible? And maybe later there's going to be times when maybe you could go downtown and say, I found a tie for you today, hon. Or maybe you're out together and you'll be able to buy one. And then maybe he'll just want to wear terrible ones all the time. Maybe he thinks yours are terrible. But you pick for him. How we can nitpick. How we can be wounded. Heart control. Set the atmosphere. Do you hate reproof and refuse instruction? He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. But he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. Proverbs 15:32. Then the dictionary said this about atmosphere. Atmosphere extends to a height of 22,000 miles. This fact is astounding, but I'm not unduly impressed. It is astounding. But listen, I've seen the atmosphere a woman sets extend so shockingly far that I have no doubt about it even reaching 22,000 years into the future. Forgive me for not understanding eternity's timetable. Revelation 14:13, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Yes, I have no doubt about it, reaching 22,000 years into the future and much, 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 much further. Without even thinking twice on this subject or pulling certain letters on purpose, I just happen, and this is true, I just happen to have some paragraphs from letters in the to be answered stack right by me. And they're thrilling examples of the extent of our influence through the atmosphere we create. Listen to this. A young lady from Lancaster, South Carolina writes this to me. I heard something one of your Hyles Anderson girls, Josie Wojcik, said to a friend that visited there recently. And I want to be able to say the same thing and mean it with all my heart. Josie said that she didn't want to talk about anything other than the Lord and His goodness. I cannot say that, as I'm unsure of my motives, but I think that I truly want to be consumed and constrained by the love of Christ. I want to go to Hyles Anderson if it'll help me to be what the Lord has intended. Now listen to that. That was just one remark she heard someone say about something that was said by a girl at this college. Can you believe that? What part do you suppose a passing remark from Josie will have on the life of a 23-year-old girl who now wants God's best for her life? I don't know. Have no idea. Perhaps the girl will forget it, the 23-year-old girl will forget it, and it will be very little influence. Perhaps the girl won't forget it, and maybe won't come here, but will maybe marry and have children and be a different mother because she heard that remark. What influence will this young lady from South Carolina have on someone else someday? Maybe this 23-year-old girl, the one who's writing that she heard a remark. What will that influence be? What could it possibly, who could she contact that might, in her turn, have a family or have a Sunday school class whose lives will be affected? What influence will this young lady have? I just don't know. What if Josie had been giving off a gripey remark instead of that word of praise? Maybe something she didn't even mean. She just said it because, she felt down. You think, well, it doesn't matter. I just told my mother, or I just told my sister. Could someone, or maybe hundreds of someones, have been affected throughout years to come? I don't know. But the thought is scary. Now, some of you don't believe that one remark can make that much difference, and I don't suppose usually it does, but I do know that remarks have been used to change the course of a person's life for the rest of their life. I want mine to be such that if this were true, they'd be right. A girl here at school told me that she just didn't really much care anything about the Christian Womanhood paper or anything we do, Spectacular, or me, or anything else. When she first came here, and through the years, she's written home to her mom and said things against all of this. So that her mother never came to the Spectacular we have once a year. Or, she was so affected that she didn't listen to any tapes from here, and she didn't read the paper because the girl would. And the girl said, I thought I had to tell someone, so why not write home to Mom? It wouldn't bother her. Wouldn't affect her any. Then this girl's mother had a tragedy in her family. And spent several years of sorrow and deep grieving. The same girl, after she's been here quite a few years, the same girl finally came to me and we talked, and she began to care a little bit about me and let me help her, and she helped me, and we had a good relationship. And she wrote home and told her mother things had changed, and then told her mother some things I say, particularly the thing I say about you don't have to rejoice in your troubles. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say rejoice. Don't rejoice in the sickness. Don't rejoice in the death. And she wrote that to her mother. Instead of writing against me and against the things I do, she wrote to tell her mother what I'd said in class. And her mother wrote back and said, this has helped me so much. And that mother, who had been grieving 2 years, was helped the minute the girl stopped hating me. These stories come often, and they're almost too unbelievable to be true. But I know that it's happened in my life. If I've disliked someone, if I've felt something in my heart toward them, I began to feel God's blessing the minute that criticism stopped in my life. Why do we hold on to it? Why do we feel we have to hold on to bitterness and show that we're not going to like so-and-so, and therefore refuse the blessings God would love to give us? Oh, someone, or maybe hundreds of someones, could be affected through years to come just by a little thing we say as we write a letter, or just by a little statement we make that someone happens to overhear. Now, let me pick up a card written by Nola DeBrois, a recent graduate of Hyles-Anderson College, and she wrote it about a dormitory supervisor. Here's what she says. The love and care this dormitory supervisor has given me overwhelms me and seems to run over. It causes me to love her more, love God more, love others more, and even think more of myself. Without her, I would never have known I could be an influence to be used to God to help change the lives of others. It seems impossible that she is now sending girls to me, that she, the dormitory supervisor, is now sending girls to me for help. She builds me, which gives me the confidence to try to soak up her teaching enough to be able to help someone else. Isn't that some matter? The chain reaction from dormitory supervisor to girl in dormitory, and who now is a graduate who is helping others. Then I pick up a thank you letter from the dormitory supervisor she's talking about. And this dormitory supervisor in this letter kindly encourages me with this. So much of my thinking was wrong, and I didn't even know it. I was a product of a liberal education, and it's taken a lot of teaching and years of hard work on your part to train that out of me. To me it sure was and is worth all that you have taught me. Only eternity will tell what your relationship to me will mean to others. It's still the chain reaction. Someone else to me to dormitory supervisor to girl on the floor, now graduate, who is teaching and giving it to others. Of course, anything I've given her has come from the Word of God and was expressed to me in words or by actions from parents and preachers and Sunday school teachers and friends. So listen, where will it all end? I don't know. At a height of 22,000 miles? Never. You see, I'm more impressed with our spiritual atmosphere He has created through us than with that of the scientific world. I know He's the God of that of the atmosphere and of that creation also, but what He's given us, the opportunity to see our works go on, to see the ripples in the lake, the pebbles falling in the lake, and the ripples going out, the chain reaction going on and on and on, means more than any atmosphere could ever mean. Now here's something else the dictionary said. The atmosphere rotates with the earth. The atmosphere is the supporting element to the earth, as we as wives are the supporting element to our husbands. I was planning to talk to girls and women on this subject, and I happened to talk to Brother Don Dinsmore, who was here from SeaTac Baptist Church in Seattle, Washington, and I was telling him my thoughts concerning women and atmosphere, and he broke into smiles and said, "Yes, my wife is as sweet as a breath of fresh air." Then he really got into it and told me that the sweet atmosphere which permeates the surrounding of his wife transmits and reflects the sun, S-O-N, capital S-O-N, just as the scientific atmosphere transmits and reflects the S-U-N. I feel that is as it should be, don't you? Since, listen to this verse. You are the light of the world, and a city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:14 and 16. So we should reflect the sun as we're the light of the world. And we can have that light and give it to other people. Then the dictionary says the atmosphere permeates. The atmosphere pervades, permeates, saturates like a sponge. It surrounds as a general mood or social environment or tone. A great deal of concern over pollution has been in evidence for years, but little has been done to fight the horrible, ugly tones or vocal pollution which spews out of our mouths regularly. And it can really spew. You know how when you hear a discordant tone on the organ or tones with a group they're trying to sing together and their tones are terrible. The other day I was sitting in a position where I couldn't help but observe a family ordering their meals, and I heard their mother heard her say, "Hurry up, she's waiting, won't take all day." Her face was cold and hard as she hatefully looked in the direction of her small son. I asked myself how many times I'd performed in the same manner, and it's really because of false pride. We sometimes allow embarrassment to cause us to hurt our own child with whom we live, rather than risk a sour look from a waitress whom we'll never see again. That son may be the person who's going to be responsible for us in our old age, and we'll never see that waitress again. And yet, so that the waitress will know that we realize we should have had that order ready. Usually a child's hesitation in a situation like this is our fault anyway, because of lack of training or because we didn't sit down and discuss and find out soon enough what the order should be. It's our fault. And I suppose our guilt is the source of this ugliness that we so regularly dispense. As I watched this particular display, it reminded me of snake venom because the whole family sat in a blue funk for the remainder of their time in that restaurant. I believe they were poisoned by words, not food poisoning. They were poisoned by words. The atmosphere had been set, and it was set for good. They didn't say one word to each other, just sat there. The whole meal ruined. I didn't condemn her. I just tried to think, how many times have I done that? Why do I do it? What should I do about it? How can I help it from happening again? The same type thing, you know what I mean. It might not be exactly the same thing, but something just like it. And I felt sorry for the woman. And I felt sorry for the whole family. It looked as if they might be on vacation. Vacation. I just wondered, was every meal a series of these types of things? Our words do a lot to set the atmosphere which surrounds us. Every word we say either goes forth to bless or to curse and wound. A word fitly spoken is as an apple of gold and a picture of silver, Proverbs 25:11. Look up and read Proverbs 15:23 and Proverbs 31:26. And you'll see how your words can help the atmosphere of your home or hinder it unbelievably. The really diabolical thing about using words in the wrong way is that our vocal tone, our countenance, and even our body motions are audio-visual equipment. And they're used to cut those words into the heart of another very effectively. Now, we learn in education that the more ways that we can get through to a person, the more that person will have what we tell them indelibly written in their minds. That's what's so sad. Because we use our voice, our horrible, grating, irritant voice, our bad, mean looks, and everything we have, even the jerking of our body, to just indelibly put on the heart of the person around us the hated venom that we're spewing out. I used to hear Dr. Lee Robertson discuss liberalism and other bad isms in terms of words like pusillanimous. Look it up in the dictionary. Pusillanimous. Pusillanimous. Doesn't it sound terrible? I wasn't sure of the meaning of the word, but I got the idea just the way he said it. And I did look it up in the dictionary, and it confirmed my belief. It seems to be a good adjective to use if we're trying to talk about complaining, jealous, and harsh things. Gripey things. I only wish there were some way for me to realize how utterly abominable my negative remarks sound. Why don't we say that these ugly remarks are pusillanimous? Maybe they'll get through to us. How terrible they are, how grating, how harsh, how wounding. In an effort to know how bad I can sound, I try to think of all the gross and horrendous things in which I do not wish to think. I don't even like to say the words. Now, I'm not all that refined at all. But I still don't like to think of pus, mucus, and vomit. I just don't like to say them. Don't like to be reminded of them. You know, I know they're a fact of life, but I don't like to talk about them a whole lot. But yet I think those are not bad words at all compared to the harsh words we use, compared to the griping and complaining and the jealous. If we just realize that those are so much worse than these words that we just kind of shiver at. Why don't we shiver at being complaining? Why don't we shiver at being gossips? Why doesn't it just do something to us that just grates against us and we say, I can't stand to be around that? My mind even kind of wanders to the odor given off by a skunk as I think of those words or facial expressions, which are expressed by teenagers as bad vibes. You know, they talk about, hey, man, you know, that hip language. I don't really go for that and don't understand it, but they say, hey, man, you know, those are bad vibes. The most discordant note in music cannot grate against our flesh or cause our skin to tickle as much as a hateful or sarcastic word. Hatefulness seems to go with haughtiness. Isaiah speaks about that. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks, and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go. Isaiah 3:16. And then in Isaiah 3:24 it tells us, and it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle a rent, and instead of well-set hair baldness, and instead of a stomacher a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Yes, really stink. Baldness, sackcloth, rent, burning seems to somewhat approach the horrible, asinine, hateful, spiteful ways we as Christian women too often exhibit. Our tongues can be against the Lord, and our countenance will witness against us. Isaiah 3:8-9, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doing are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sins as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. A bad atmosphere is as stifling to God's will as a high ozone level is for breathing. Let's turn off the snide, putrid remarks we're so quick to initiate, the bitter word that's just welling in our soul to get out of, wanting to get out of our mouths. Oh, that God would help us to see this. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to say. We talk all the time about talking correctly, and yet I fall right back in it and don't even know I fall back in it. Doesn't it break your heart? As you think back on the things you've said, and you know you've hurt the people as you've said it. Doesn't it break your heart? We need to pray and ask God to help us to see our secret sins that we don't understand, that we don't even grasp. We don't even know what we're doing. The remarks such as something like yes, we went out to eat last night. You know, you're talking to a friend. You and your husband talking to a friend. Oh, yes, we went out to eat last night. I had such and such, and he had rib steak. And your husband says, no, hon, I don't believe it was. You say, yeah, don't you remember? And you go through a big rigmarole trying to show him that he doesn't know what steak he had. Why do you do that? Why do you... And you say, yeah, I remember just what it was on the menu. I can see it. And you make a big fuss over it. You say, yeah, I want to tell the truth. Well, now, listen. Does God really care whether you expose the truth? Say he was wrong. Is that what the honesty issue is all about? That God wants to be sure that you let everybody know what steak he had? Why are we so honest about that and don't seem to care one little bit about some of the things we let pass that we know, that when we know we're not telling the whole truth? You know those times when you say, well, what I said was true. But what you're insinuating is that you didn't say it all. You had some mental reservation, and you kept back part of the truth that would have changed everything, the other part of the truth that you did tell. And you're not so honest then. How come our honesty all comes out when we want to prove that we know something that our husband doesn't know? An atmosphere has an interesting effect. That's what the dictionary said about atmosphere. Heart control will help us set the atmosphere of our home, of our school, of our schoolroom, of our bus. It will help us set the atmosphere of any place where we happen to be. This meaning given in the dictionary is somewhat different from the others, which are pertaining to the scientific atmosphere. The dictionary says this about an atmosphere having an interesting effect. An atmosphere is an interesting, often exotic effect produced by decoration and furnishings. You know, the restaurants where you say, that restaurant has atmosphere, I like to go there. The candles, the wooden beams, the music, the decor, the whole decor, the way the waitresses are dressed, you just like that atmosphere. That's the type of atmosphere. Have you ever read those stories which feature a girl preparing her home or apartment in a way that would appeal to her boyfriend? Perhaps you've heard a girl discussing her plans for such an event. She says, you know, they usually include steak, candles, soft music, low lights, perfume, and pretty clothes. This is a deadly combination which can be used in a dangerously wrong way or in a wonderfully right way. As usual, we're all messed up. We create the right atmosphere at the wrong time. Goodness, what's the matter with us? How long after marriage do the candlelight dinners take place? You say, well, how can I? You know, I have a baby and a baby, you know. But you went to all kinds, you came in from work, and you went into all kinds of trouble and effort to see that it happened before you were married. This atmosphere gets to you through the five senses, this candlelight dinner and all that kind of thing. You know, like perfume and steak gets to the sense of smell. Not at the same time, I hope. But candlelight and appropriate table, sense of sight. Music gets to the sense of hearing. Steak, sense of taste. And of course, all of these naturally lead to the sense of touch. Wouldn't it be great if we knew when to perform these rituals and when to have, the after marriage rather than before marriage. It doesn't take two people to set an atmosphere. Lady, you can be an atmosphere setter if you desire to be an atmosphere setter. What does your heart hunger and thirst after? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? Homes have an atmosphere. Schools and classrooms have an atmosphere. Schools and, the classrooms within schools. Each classroom has its own distinct atmosphere. Churches have an atmosphere. You know when you go in. You can just tell whether it's a friendly, alive church or whether it's a very formal church. You can just about tell what the atmosphere is as you walk in. The music tells it, the kind of music. Whether it's a lively marching, come on, something's going to happen music, or if it's an anthem, or when you go to a funeral, an anthem or a hymn that would make you be very quiet and feel very much as if you have to talk in a whisper all the time. There are disorderly places, unclean, unorganized homes, which regularly send out unorganized, disorderly family members into the world. The atmosphere of your home. However, there are also homes which produce orderly minds and self-confident individuals who believe they are loved and can face the world with a healthy sense of humor. Truly, these people are a reflection of the leadership of their home, and atmosphere does make a difference. And if the woman has set the atmosphere for the leadership of the man, you're probably going to have children who go out to set atmospheres themselves. Certain churches are known for their friendliness, and then others are known for their coldness. I don't know which yours is, but it's one. You have an atmosphere. It's an atmosphere set by the leaders. Women can help their leaders make a friendly church. However, I want to warn you that you'll have to sacrifice if you want to participate in this. You'll have to give up your friends. That's right. The cliques will have to go. I've heard so many people exclaiming over their friendly churches when I found them to just be the opposite. A lot of people think their churches are friendly because they sit with their friends and they already know everybody, and they think they're real friendly because they have a little circle that when they sit down they feel so comfortable in, but someone else can't crack that circle. Or in a school, we bunch in our little groups, and no one can crack our group, and we say, oh, we have a friendly school. We think so because we have our own little clique already. We think we're friendly because, we run up to newcomers and say, hi, how are you? I'm glad you came. Come back again and run away. That's not friendliness. I call these people hit-and-run types, and I suppose I've been that and am that myself. As soon as they've made their duty call, they run back to their security blanket, which is their set, the people they've been with for 20 years, maybe. Now, come on. I know we love to be with our friends, but couldn't we leave our friends just long enough to be with some new people and help somebody that needs us, and then run back to our friends just as soon as we can, and get our security blanket back once in a while? We'll see to it that we're going to be with our friends. We don't have to work at it to be with our friends. We want to be with them, and we're going to see to it that we are with them enough. And I'm not saying you have to give them up all the time, but couldn't you bring newcomers to sit with your gang? Even better, just once in a while, could you leave your gang and go over and sit with the new lady? Maybe you could tell your friends or your gang that see you later after church, and then we can ride home together before you go, so you won't be too nervous when you're away from them. You see, best friends and cliques are going to get together. You're going to find a way to get together, but on purpose you're going to have to include others. Supposedly friendly churches sometimes close ranks to the point that a visitor begins to feel there's no way to crack the group. People have left Christian colleges because they can't get in. They're in, but they're not in. And the cliques have all been set. The gangs have all been planned. How are these same people who are going to go out and work in churches ever going to be able to help people when they already have decided they're going to stay with their friends? Why don't you try examining your school or your church or your family from the viewpoint of a visitor? Maybe you're not so friendly. What is the true AQ, atmosphere quotient. What's the true AQ? A woman could set the pace and by so doing show her love to the Lord and her help to the preacher and her concern for the stranger. What's the atmosphere quotient at your church? The Bible says, when saw we thee a stranger and took thee in? Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Matthew 25:38 and 40. The Sunday school teacher I talk about so often, Mrs. Holbrook, was a widow for 14 years before she remarried at age 70. And during those years, she had one of those beautiful special relationships with another widow lady, and she had known her most of her life. In fact, the two couples had been friends before their husbands died. They'd been years together. I really admired Mrs. Holbrook and Mrs. Eleanor Hawkins because their friendship was never exclusive. Many times I'd see them ride together to some event or church, but they went their separate ways. And they'd go toward others while they were there and during the actual time of the occasion. And maybe they'd come back together again to go home. But they didn't come sit together and stay together. And best friends are going to be close without a lot of on-purpose planning. But getting to know new people will probably take some real thought and perhaps some effort on your part. Set the atmosphere. Be one of the first to set an atmosphere of friendliness. Our preacher tells dating couples that they should gather from many people outside just their twosome. And that that'll keep their own relationship alive and well. It's so true that exclusivism is excludism and cannot bring blessing to any relationship in any way. Let me repeat that. Exclusivism is excludism. It just has to be. And it's wrong. Proverbs 18:24, and a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Well, the dictionary said something else. It said that the atmosphere does show. And I say, what your heart ponders, your face reveals. What your heart ponders, your face reveals. Isaiah 3:8-10 says, for Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen. Remember those words? They declared their sin like Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say to the righteous that it shall be well with them, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. That seems to tell us that what we say and what we do will show on our faces as a witness against us. Their tongue and their doings are against the Lord. The show of their countenance doth witness against them. The show of their very countenance. What your heart ponders, your face reveals. See, it just, when we make fake faces like little kids, people told us our faces would freeze that way. We laughed, and I thought they were just kidding. I didn't know it was true. There's really more truth than fiction in this. We see people whose faces set in maturity into upward, happy lines, and then we see those that are set in downward, ugly lines. We see young girls with hard, harsh faces. Then you see them begin to lose some of their rebellion, and it's not my imagination. I know it isn't. There's a sweetness and a softness that comes into their faces that's something completely different from what that rebellious heart pondered and was revealed on the face. You can tell many times when girls are in trouble. You can tell it. You can know it. Because what your heart ponders, your face reveals. I can tell you how to set the atmosphere for happy lines in your face. You can do it by giving yourself completely to the Lord. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Psalm 19:14. That's how the good things and the good lines can come into your heart and mind and therefore onto your face. That's how you can begin to control your mouth. 1 Samuel 2:3 says, talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The heart sets the atmosphere, and out of the issues of the heart cometh our thoughts, and what that which cometh out of our mouth. Psalm 10:7 says, His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Is that your tongue? Psalm 141:3 says, Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. If your heart hasn't pondered the wrong thing, your lips aren't going to say the wrong thing. What grates against you? What just makes your skin crawl? What makes your spine tickle? What do you hate to see said, and what do you say, that just bothers me? Let it be your complaining ways. Let it be your gossiping and your criticism of others. Then you will have the Lord setting a watch before your mouth, because you can't say what you haven't already pondered in your heart. Remember, actually, the heart is an organ in the upper left part of your body. But the real seat of the heart is in a part of the brain. And it's so related to what you allow to come into your mind. We want a broken heart. I believe we want a contrite heart. But I believe we're only going to get it as we ask God for it. And only as we ask God for it are we going to set the atmosphere that just makes people look at us and want to be what the Lord wants them to be. Recently, Mrs. John R. Rice was here, and I've told you before, I want to tell you again, it seems as while she was here that you could look into her face and just see godliness and holiness and righteousness in her very countenance. And I thought, how does that happen? You know, it happens by thinking right when you're 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 and 70. At 82, it didn't just happen. The reason girls look into her face and the reason she sets a completely different atmosphere for most older ladies is because she was learning to live and have heart control and live the way that way to provide that kind of an atmosphere when she was younger. Would you like to be the kind of 82-year-old lady that when you go out shopping, young girls come to watch you try on clothes because they're fascinated by you? It was my privilege, my daughter's privilege, my niece, my sister, Sarah's, to go shopping with Mrs. Rice. It's just an experience. We just had such a good time. She set the atmosphere in that department store, in that ladies' department of the department store. And a young girl, oh, she looked so bad. She was heavy, and she just wasn't built very well, and she had on jeans, and she was working in that department store, and she wasn't even waiting on Mrs. Rice. She shouldn't have even been attracted to Mrs. Rice. Mrs. Rice is 82. Why should this girl, dressed as the modern girls dress, why would this girl be attracted to a lady like Mrs. Rice? But she was. And she just stood back and watched her, and just came to the dressing room and just listened to her outside the curtain. And when Mrs. Rice came out, I told her that the girl was there, and Miss Rice started talking to her and smiling up into her face, and Mrs. Rice's countenance is beautiful, and the lines are upward, and she's sparkly in the eyes, and the girl was fascinated. It was plain to see the young girl was fascinated by her. I couldn't understand it, and I mentioned it to Mrs. Rice, and she said, "Oh no, that I was just making it up, you know." But I know, I saw it, and I hate to contradict Mrs. John R. Rice, but I saw it, and I saw girls in the shopping center where we were, who happened to be shopping there, girls from our college. Then I saw them come up, and they were almost rude. They just come and stop, and they just stared into her face. She sets an atmosphere. And it's because of her holy living, it's because of her love for each person. I asked her what she thought it was, and she said, "Well, I don't think it is." She's like Miss Holbrook. I ask them these things, and they say, "Well, I don't have it. I can't find out how they get it because they don't even know they have it." And I guess that's what's so beautiful about them. But she said, no, but she said, now I will say this. She said, I do love people. And I know that's Mrs. Holbrook too. A love for people. A love for people who don't love her. A love for people who maybe hurt her husband. A love for people that aren't able to give her any attention, don't know how to come out of themselves to seem to give her any attention. She still loves them. And I guess that's what's seen. The love she has for each individual, the broken heart, the care she has. I was asking her for prayer on a certain individual and mentioning the person. She said, I wish I could live close to them. And she just genuinely meant it. And I know she did. And I thought, she said, but let me take the name, and here's what I'll do, and I'll get this, and I'll get that. And she'll do it, too. And I'll send him this, and maybe this would help. And it's just setting an atmosphere. I was just thinking back on the setting atmosphere in the church, and I'm so glad, as I talked about Mrs. Holbrook, my Sunday school teacher, and Mrs. Hawkins, I'm so glad they didn't let their friendship become exclusive. If they had, I wouldn't have been helped by Mrs. Holbrook. I remember going to church functions and social events in which I can't remember Mrs. Holbrook seeking out Mrs. Hawkins at all. She just stayed with us girls, as we called it, because we were her Sunday school girls. And she'd go to different ones of us and spend time with each one of us and see to it that she really helped us set an atmosphere. But it was at a price to herself. I didn't even realize at the time that she probably would like to be with her best friend. She and Eleanor, their relationship was called by a Bible teacher once called. They were called Jonathan and David. Well, surely Jonathan and David would have preferred to have been together most of the time. And yet I can never remember in the years that I saw them, where I'd be and they'd be too, I can't remember her leaving people who needed her to go to Eleanor. I know they'd leave the event and go home together, but they were there to help other people. And Eleanor was the same way. And she'd help other people. And they didn't have an exclusive thing, but they had a beautiful friendship. Why is it that we do? Why is it we can't set the atmosphere right? Why is it that we do just seek out the people that we want to be around and no one else? Of course, I believe it's insecurity. It's sort of like going steady. I've got somebody to be with. I better be sure I can be with them. And when you sit together, and you almost get panicky if you don't have anybody to sit with. It might look like no one wants to sit with you. I guess if we had the security from the Lord and His love that we ought to have, we wouldn't have to have this. Then we could go give love to all people and cared about all people enough to set an atmosphere that would be something that would glorify God and be for good and be for the Word of God instead of something that we just had to have for ourselves. Why can't we get close to God so that He can set an atmosphere in our hearts that will cause us to set the correct atmosphere wherever we go? Again, because we won't pay the price, because we won't get into the Word and let the Word get into us, because we won't learn Bible-taught thoughts, because we won't let the Lord just love us, because we won't take our problems to Him and really leave them with Him. Therefore, we have to have somebody that we can tell all to, and who will really understand us, and who will really be that person we can cling to. Let's go to the Rock of Ages for the security for all ages and for eternity. Job 30:25 says, "Did not I weep for him that was in trouble? Was not my soul grieved for the poor?" A broken heart, a heart control, weeping over others, caring about people who are in trouble or poor. Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite heart." Heart control, a broken heart. Psalm 30, verse 5, "For his anger endureth but a moment, and his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." Don't you love that verse, and don't you love that song? Joy cometh in the morning. Broken heart. We may weep. We may be sad. We may be broken-hearted. But as long as God is in control of that heart, we'll be able to be in control of ourselves to the point that will be able to set the atmosphere wherever we are. What are your kids going to remember about your home? They're not going to like some things. There's going to be some things they think are wrong, and yet is the overall atmosphere going to be such that they'll forgive the mistakes you made? You know, love covers a multitude of sins. A happy atmosphere and a loving atmosphere causes you to forget any other problems that you ever had. I keep telling Mom and Dad they were rich, and their dad laughs, and he says, "Are you kidding?" And they got married during the Depression, but I remember some china that we had, and they said they got it when they married in 1939, and they had enough money saved up to get some, I guess, an expensive china. And he said, "Well, it didn't cost much." And I said, "Yeah, but you didn't make much in that day, and we were rich." And I go back to the home where we lived, the house where we lived, and it doesn't look like it was too rich, but I sure thought we were rich. And I've heard a lot of other kids say that. We weren't poor. My dad always did have a job and was able to keep a job even through the Depression days as a foreman in a flour mill, and didn't have to take the WPA jobs or the soup lines or anything else that a lot of other people had to take. So I guess we were rich, and yet we surely weren't, and Dad just laughs. But see, there was a rich atmosphere. And as long as the atmosphere is rich, it doesn't matter whether you're rich. Facts don't matter. It's attitude that counts. Attitude is more important than fact. And if your attitude, your hearted attitude, is under control, the atmosphere will be set in such a way that your kids will remember a happy home no matter the times that you didn't have that. None of us fit into character all the time, but what are you characterized by? I hope I'm considered a happy person, but there are times when I don't act too happy. But they're few and far between. They're not too many. I hope overall that I am a happy person, and that I show it, and that kind of an atmosphere pervades around me. What do people think about you? What will they think about you in the future? What are you known for? That's what's important. Not the valleys, not even the heights. Not what are you like 1 or 2 days a month, but what are you like most of the time? That's the atmosphere for which people will remember you. Let's think again. The husband is the leader of the home. The preacher is the leader of the church. The employer is the leader at work. The teacher is the leader in the school. The mother may be the leader with the children. But yet, the atmosphere surrounding that leader can so much depend upon the followers. You can help set the atmosphere. So many times girls say, it seems as if we're nothing. It seems like we can't be used for anything. Oh, how untrue that is. Go back over the definitions given by the dictionary for atmosphere and think of all that the atmosphere does. Can you imagine that you could be that important to a home, a school, a church, a bus? I hate to think that we can be negatively as important as we can be positively. It's important. It may be important it's in the wrong way. But just one wrong word or statement can affect a bus so negatively. I remember one time being with our workers on a bus route and going out to pick up our load of bus people and and someone said, so-and-so's not coming, and they're not coming, and this one's not coming, and a pall just fell over all the workers. And by the time we got to the first person, we were so down we couldn't even get up enough to say good morning to the people who did get on the bus. We were so disturbed by all the ones who were not going to be coming. The worker had been out visiting on Saturday and started telling all the reasons all the people weren't coming. Well, as it turned out, a whole lot of them came that said they weren't coming. Things changed, plans changed. They thought they weren't coming, but they did. I mean, just a simple statement like saying who isn't coming, saying something negatively like that, can change a whole atmosphere of workers on a bus route. True things I'm not just talking about gossip. I'm not just talking about things that are false. I'm talking about really good things and true things that can hurt a whole group of workers. Let's ask God to help us to be positive. Let's ask God to help us to set the atmosphere in a car, for riding in a car with our family or with a group of friends, that we are such a part of the atmosphere that it'll be so sweet and refreshing, as the preacher said about his wife. She's like a breath of fresh air instead of a high ozone level, a high level of pollution. Which are you? Are you a polluted atmosphere, or are you a breath of fresh air? God's given you ways that you can be the breath of fresh air. He'll help each one of us to be that, and we can be the sweet and tender and loving wives and mothers and teachers that He meant for us to be when He made us. Remember, God had a plan when He made you. When He allowed you to be conceived, He already had a plan in mind, a blueprint. That's what we're going after. That's what you should be going after. That's what I should be going after. As we follow God's perfect plan for our lives, we can be every bit of what He wants us to be for His honor and glory. Heart control. You may have heart trouble someday. You may have a heart attack someday. But none of that will be ever as serious as lack of heart control, lack of being able to set the atmosphere with love. Fall in love with people and be a breath of fresh air. We're also concerned when someone has open heart surgery, and this is rightly so. It's a big operation. But maybe some of us need to have open heart surgery so we can be this breath of fresh air. It's not enough to say we want to be, and it's not enough for me to say be that. Most of us do want to be. But to find the way, it seems so straight, it seems so crooked. The Lord can help us find the way, but it might be through open heart surgery. It might be, it's possibly going to be painful. And we're going to have to be ready for His bringing into our lives those things that would help us to reach that point where we can be just exactly what He wants us to be. Would you be willing to go through open heart surgery? To have heart control? Had you ever thought about it before? Had you ever thought what it might take to control your heart? So many times people think, well, so-and-so just loves people and is able to express it. Isn't that nice? I wish I could. But it's never that easy. It's never that simple. So-and-so probably loves people because she thinks on people and plans for them and works for them and spends time trying to think what it would be like to be that person, so that she's able to overlook the person's faults and just fall in love with the good points of that person. You can have open heart surgery, and you also can have heart control.